Tracy, why is giving important?
Well, for me, it's always been something that I watched happen growing up. I was born in Pennsylvania and was a part of the Middle Pennsylvania district. Grew up in the Rock Hill Furnace Church of the Brethren and watched my parents and grandparents weekly put in their tithes and offerings. And growing up in a home where I was blessed to have parents to explain things, and it was not just Bible on Sunday; it was Bible every day. And getting that kind of that kind of education through them and watching how they did things instilled something in me, I think, very early on. An understanding of what it means to be obedient to God's command to give 1/10 of our first fruits is something that's very important to me. But recently, I was preparing for a sermon and was reading in Luke 21. And the first 4 verses of that chapter talks about the widow's mite and how she gives, you have all these rich people giving all that they felt they could give. And then you have this poor woman, giving everything she had left, and what Jesus said about that. And so for me, it's another way to outwardly show what happened to me inwardly when I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. We have baptism, which is just as important of a way to show that outward transformation of what happened inwardly. But I think for me, generosity is another way to show this fully committed faith and how it can be demonstrated through that action of giving. And I want to read something and share from the Feasting of the Gospels, which is a commentary that I use as I prepare for sermons. And one of the authors, she shared this, and this really has resonated with me, that the action of the widow at the opening of the chapter, if it's possible for her to put all she had to live on into God's hands, that perhaps it's possible for us as well, in spite of the corruption of our modern equivalent of the temple, in spite of the meagerness of our faith that we bring to the throne of grace. And so for me, it's again, it demonstrates the hope that I have in the one who created and saved me.
Thank you. What have you seen giving do for the church and the world?
Well, for me, it's thinking about, we celebrated with Heifer International this year over the summer, their 75th anniversary. And to think back on their meager beginnings in the 40s there as part of the Church of the Brethren, were the ones that started that whole effort through the Heifer Project, and those seagoing cowboys and all of those who were committed to that project. And understanding how supporting the congregation, supporting that effort through their volunteer work, prayers, and their financial contributions, now has blossomed into this huge initiative that has just changed the lives of people all over the globe. So for me, that's like the top one that probably pops into my head the quickest as far as watching transformation occur through a ministry that we do, and through the faithfulness of those who give and serve through that. I think also thinking about it around our discipleship ministries, one of our core ministry areas, and the work that they do to help support our youth and our young adults, to provide them opportunities to gather together, to show that group that there's more than just them in the world that believe in something, that have an understanding of who Jesus is, and to walk together and build that empowerment within them. I think that we've seen a lot of strength come out of those events of National Youth Conference and our junior high conferences, and the work camps is another place. They're getting ready here in 2020, again, to send people out and to just be a presence. And we couldn't do any of that without the generosity and the prayers and the hours of volunteering that our denominational members provide for us. So for me, that's just, I could go on, Eric, and I look forward to an opportunity to come and actually worship at Live Oak and let this be a part of, maybe a larger effort to talk about the work that we do together as the Church of the Brethren.
That's a great idea. Might have to invite you out here sometime. Yeah.
I would love that.
All right. All right. Um, how can we better encourage people to give more of themselves and their resources?
Yeah, this is like the $20 million question, right? This is the one on, we're so stretched as a culture, with all of the things that we get ourselves involved in. And sometimes it feels as if church takes a back seat if the work that we do together is something that unfortunately gets prioritized a little bit lower. I guess for me, I try to share how I've seen God work in my life, through my generosity and through remembering that I am to give 10% of what I am blessed with, so that others can be blessed by it. And I think that's what stays in the back of my mind, is just to encourage others to have faith that even if you're giving that last dollar, even if you have like a quarter tank of gas left and you only have $20, but you see someone in need and that they could use that $20, instead of filling the tank up a little more, providing it to that person, knowing that God will provide for you. Um, I don't think there's anything more empowering than to try to hold on to that hope. So for me, it is. It's just reminding each other that all we need is God. You know, we just need to cling to the cross, to our Savior, to our in Him, and know that as we step out strongly, that He too steps out with us. And I can't imagine doing this without Him at the center of it.
And one final question, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but maybe we could go into a little bit more. I think in today's culture, we find a lot of people asking, what does the church have to offer me?
Mhm.
Why should I go to church? Why should I be involved in a faith community? Um,
Right.
so, what does the church have to offer to its members, its neighborhood, and the world?
Eric, I think it comes back to hope. We provide something that I feel our society is lacking. When you I had just, again, as I was preparing I preached down at the Gettysburg congregation this past Sunday, and just looking at the news thread throughout the week, because I always like to be kept up to date on what's going on. It's just mind blowing to me how we're treating one another. You know, there was yet another school shooting that happened. There was a shooting at Walmart, I think I just saw the other morning. The fact that we have the upheaval that's going on in DC and these hearings, not just even the impeachment stuff, but ethical things that our representatives in the House are being called out on. And that's just in the United States. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff happening then over in Europe and in Russia. And I think it boils down to, we provide a place for people to feel welcome, to feel that unconditional love that only Christ can give, to offer that cold cup of water, and to show another way to live than what we see around us. That kind of countercultural posture. And to do that, it's to hold up the greatest commandment that we were given, to love one another. For me, that's what I feel every congregation in our denomination provides.
Well, thank you very much, Traci.